In the latest installment of The Bold and the Beautiful, aired on April 23, 2025, the storyline pivots toward an emotionally charged narrative driven by personal crisis, familial strain, and the looming specter of mortality. Central to the episode is Liam Spencer, whose diagnosis of an inoperable brain tumor serves as both a plot catalyst and a thematic core. Liam's terminal diagnosis, a narrative shift. Liam's diagnosis is framed not merely as a medical fact, but as a psychological and emotional earthquake. Rather than accepting the prognosis, Liam channels his energy into a desperate search for hope, investigating alternative therapies and experimental treatments. His refusal to succumb to despair becomes a narrative focal point, highlighting the human instinct to resist finality. Steffi's dilemma, the weight of truth. Parallel to Liam's personal battle is Steffi Forrester's internal conflict. Tasked with informing Liam of his condition, Steffi grapples with whether truth or protection is the greater act of love. Her emotional discussions with Finn underscore the psychological toll of being a caregiver and confidant. Ultimately, her choice to be honest introduces a moment of raw vulnerability in a domestic setting, where childhood innocence juxtaposes adult grief. Emotional and relational fallout. The implications of Liam's diagnosis extend beyond his immediate family. The news reverberates across the Forrester and Spencer circles, interrupting long-standing conflicts and compelling unity among characters like Ridge, Taylor, and Brooke. Even secondary figures, such as Christine, visiting from the young and the restless, are drawn into the emotional orbit of the crisis. Medical system realism and human resilience. The show tactfully incorporates realistic portrayals of navigating a complex healthcare system. Liam's consultations, exhaustive research, and interactions with survivors depict a grounded, emotionally resonant journey. The storyline balances dramatic flair with an authentic depiction of perseverance in the face of terminal illness. Evolving dynamics. Steffi and Finn. As Liam confronts his condition, Steffi and Finn must reassess their roles as partners and parents. Finn's clinical knowledge offers clarity but not emotional relief, exposing the strain such circumstances place on intimate relationships. However, their shared vulnerability offers moments of connection, reinforcing the enduring strength of familial love. Broader community response and symbolic events. The narrative lens expands to reflect on communal resilience. Support groups, neighborhood gestures, and workplace solidarity underscore how tragedy can mobilize collective empathy. Even the fashion show, once a symbol of rivalry and ambition, is recontextualized as a beacon of perseverance. Speculative trajectories and meta-narrative engagement. The episode also invites speculation on Scott Clifton's potential departure from the role of Liam. Fan theories suggest a return to General Hospital or even ventures beyond soap operas, reflecting his versatile talent. Simultaneously, Ivy Forrester's reappearance opens doors for renewed romantic tensions and character development, potentially redefining her long-standing role as a secondary figure. Breaking repetitive patterns toward narrative innovation. This installment proposes a departure from the cyclical Steffi, Hope, Liam love triangle. A storyline focused on individual growth, legacy, and introspection would align with viewer calls for innovation. This narrative shift could reinvigorate core characters and reframe long-standing arcs. The Spencer legacy, crisis, and potential reclamation. The decline of the Spencer family storyline, marked by character departures and internal disarray, prompts existential questions about the family's future role in the series. However, a redemption arc or the introduction of new family members could reposition the Spencers as narrative keystones once more. Ethical complexity in clinical contexts. The subplot involving Finn, Bridget, and Grace explores the ethical challenges in medical diagnosis and disclosure. Grace's actions, potentially heroic or symbolic, and her emerging backstory hint at new avenues for narrative expansion. Conclusion. Risk, realism, and emotional continuity. With Liam's condition serving as a narrative inflection point, The Bold and the Beautiful demonstrates its ability to interweave melodrama with real-world emotional complexity. As the series explores illness, loss, and legacy, it also remains self-aware, leveraging fan engagement and speculation to sustain narrative momentum. Whether through character exits, renewed arcs, or emotional recalibration, the show affirms its legacy as a dynamic force in daytime storytelling. BB spoilers. Hope slaps Liam, criticizing him for not caring about Beth. In a deeply emotional sequence of recent episodes from The Bold and the Beautiful, the series explores themes of secrecy, grief, and redemption, centered around Liam Spencer's critical health crisis and its fallout. Liam's health deteriorates following a sudden collapse at his father Bill Spencer's home, where he suffers a traumatic brain injury. Medical examinations conducted by Dr. Grace Buckingham and Dr. Bridget Forster reveal an inoperable and potentially fatal brain bleed. Despite the severity of his condition, Liam opts to keep the diagnosis hidden from most of his loved ones, particularly his daughters, Beth and Kelly, in an attempt to shield them from pain. Only a select few are aware of Liam's prognosis, including his ex-wife Steffi Forrester, her husband Dr. John Finnegan, and a limited medical team. Liam explicitly requests confidentiality, believing it's his responsibility to protect those closest to him. Hope Logan, Liam's ex-wife and mother of Beth, remains unaware of his condition due to her own personal struggles and distance from the family. Residing near her father Deacon Sharp's apartment and estranged from her mother Brooke Logan, Hope has not been closely engaged with Liam. However, her perspective shifts drastically after overhearing a hospital conversation between Liam and Steffi. The revelation that Liam is dying and that Steffi knew while she did not leaves Hope reeling. Her distress is amplified upon hearing Liam's plans to attend an upcoming father-daughter event with Kelly, which she interprets as a disregard for Beth. Fueled by a sense of injustice, Hope confronts Liam and Steffi, accusing him of prioritizing Kelly over Beth. Liam attempts to clarify his intentions, emphasizing his equal love for both daughters and explaining that the timing of the dance, not favoritism, drove his decision. He also notes that Steffi only learned of his illness through Finn's medical access. Unfortunately, the confrontation proves too overwhelming for Liam. Under intense emotional strain, he collapses mid-conversation. Medical staff rush to respond, and Dr. Buckingham and Finn determine that Liam's condition has drastically worsened. Emergency surgery follows, but despite all efforts, Liam succumbs to his injuries. The news of his death devastates his loved ones, leaving Hope overwhelmed with guilt over their final interaction. In the aftermath, family and friends gather to process the loss. Public speculation and private grief intertwine as Hope grapples with her role in Liam's final hours. Steffi, demonstrating empathy, reassures Hope that Liam's condition was critical long before their confrontation.